women. And therefore, even as we sit as editors and we think about the people we are serving, we must open our eyes to the fact that we have men and women, and they both have a right to be covered. So for me as an editor, that is how I approach my work. That said, however, I will also speak to the facts as they are. And research has been done, and it has shown that when you look at the media, and that research was global, but also they zeroed in on Kenya, when you look at the media and you look at the voices of women coming out of the media, for every one woman that speaks, her voice is drowned by 5 men. So it means she gets a sixth of the coverage at any one time. That study also showed that even when you have the 26 heads of state that have been talked about, even when the representation of women in whatever capacity has gone up, it does not correspond with the coverage that they receive in the media. That means that even our old argument that we cannot cover the women if they are not there in the representation does not hold, because we don't give them that proportional rise in their representation in the way we cover them. But the study also tried to answer the reasons for this. And one of the reasons is that just like every other space, we are in a very patriarchal society. And the media is a very patriarchal space. So for as long as the decisions that are being made within the media houses are being made in that patriarchal lens, we cannot expect any better coverage of women. And I'll just talk about some of the things that I come across even as an editor. Very recently, I chanced on a story that was just about to go to press, and it was an interview with Sharon Otieno's mother. And I was horrified by some of the questions that the journalist had asked this lady. Among other questions, she had asked her, first of all, I noticed that the journalist was very forceful in the way he was talking to her. It was as if she was accused and needed to really justify why she even wants to run for a seat. And at some point, he had asked her, is your husband in agreement with your decision to run? So, I was horrified, and I went back to the news editor. Because the story was on the page, it had been looked at by various editors, including our quality editors, and I asked, why would you ask her if the husband is in agreement? Have you asked Oparanya whether his 4 wives are in agreement with his decision to be in Raila's camp? So it is actually true that because of the patriarchal nature, and of course the news editor actually tried to explain it and to justify, but it's because the patriarchal nature in which we operate, and I say this with all due respect, and as a woman, and as an editor, when I sit at my desk, I don't sit there and say, I am now a woman editor of the Daily Nation. I sit there as the editor of the Daily Nation, doing the work that I need to do as an editor. So I will not, I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you any preferential treatment as women, but I expect that as women, one, you must understand, how does the media work? What story qualifies to go into the media? You can't just say, yes, well, yeah, I was in this function, and no one even covered me. What are the things that will make them decide whether that story should be on page 1 or on page 47? Or do you just wait until you're on page 43 and then you say, they tucked me inside in page 43 in a brief,